How to actually lose fat, tone up, a doctor's science-based guide. A wake-up call from a doctor. You look in the mirror and something doesn't feel right. You've been working hard, maybe watching what you eat, skipping that extra slice of cake, even pushing through workouts. But your belly hasn't budged, your arms look softer than they used to, and despite all your effort, you feel like your body is stuck in a holding pattern. As a doctor who's spent over 3 decades helping patients transform their health, let me tell you what's really going on. The world has sold us a broken model of fat loss. We've been told to just eat less and move more, count calories, do more cardio, skip meals. But what if I told you that most of these methods not only fail, they may actually make things worse? In this guide, I'll show you how to fix that. We'll go deep into metabolism, nutrition, muscle preservation, hormonal balance, and lifestyle habits. You'll also hear 2 real stories of ordinary people who were trapped by misleading advice, and what happened when we finally gave their bodies what they truly needed. Let's break this down the right way. Part 1. Metabolism. Calorie math. The real foundation. Your metabolism is not just some abstract rate that decides how fast or slow you burn calories. It's the total of all the biological processes that keep you alive, breathing, thinking, digesting, circulating blood, regulating temperature, repairing cells. And these processes require energy measured in calories. But here's where most people go wrong. They overestimate the power of exercise and underestimate what their body does when it's not working out. Your total daily energy expenditure, TDEE, is made up of basal metabolic rate, BMR, 70%, the calories your body burns just to stay alive. Even if you lay in bed all day, your body is burning energy to keep your organs functioning. NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, 15%. Fidgeting, walking to the bathroom, doing dishes, these movements matter more than you think. Exercise activity, 5%. Yes, your workout counts, but not as much as you think. Thermic effect of food, TEF, 10%. The calories burned just to digest and absorb nutrients. Not all food burns the same protein. For instance, takes more energy to digest than fat or carbs. If your body needs 0 calories per day, and you eat 0, your weight stays steady. Eat more, and you'll gain. Eat less, and you'll lose in theory. But here's the catch. Your body is not a calculator, it's a survival machine. Cut calories too aggressively, and it'll adapt to conserve energy. Part 2. Safe caloric deficit. Less is not always better. Let me be blunt. Starvation diets are a disaster. A common mistake I see, especially among women, is trying to drop to 200 calories a day thinking it'll speed things up. But here's what really happens. Your metabolism slows down to preserve energy. Muscle mass begins to degrade. Hormones go haywire. Cravings intensify. The ideal calorie deficit is no more than 500 calories per day. For most women, this means never going below 200, 400 calories per day. For men, 500, 700. And even that lower limit should only be short-term. Long-term success depends on sustainability, not starvation. One of my patients, Maria, 47-year-old teacher once, came to me eating 900 calories a day and doing 2 hours of cardio. Her hair was thinning, her menstrual cycle had stopped. Her mood was unpredictable. She hadn't lost a pound in 3 months. We reversed course, increased her food intake slowly, prioritized protein, and swapped cardio for strength training. Within 8 weeks, the fat started melting off. Her energy returned. Her body came back to life. Part 3. The limitations of calorie counting. Let's be honest, calorie tracking can be helpful, but it's not always accurate or necessary. Calories on labels can be off by 20%. Restaurant meals? Forget precision. Even your body's ability to digest food changes depending on gut health, sleep, stress, and hormones. Then there's psychological fatigue. For many people, especially those with a history of disordered eating, tracking every bite can become obsessive, stressful, and unsustainable. For some, a better strategy is intuitive eating guided by structured habits. Always include protein. Eat slowly. Stop. When 80% full, prioritize whole foods. It's not about perfection, it's about patterns. Part 4. Recomposition. Losing fat while gaining muscle. Most people think you have to choose between fat loss and muscle gain. That's a myth. If you create a small calorie deficit, 200-300 calories, eat adequate protein, and lift weights, your body can do something amazing: recompose. You'll lose fat, gain lean muscle, and your metabolism will actually get faster. One example: Jacob, a 62-year-old retired firefighter. He feared strength training was for young guys. After some convincing, we started him on a bodyweight resistance routine with 800 calories day and 140 of protein. 6 months later, he dropped 2 pant sizes, gained visible muscle in his arms, and improved his cholesterol levels without stepping foot on a treadmill. Recomposition works at any age. Part V. Protein math, thermic effect. Protein is the single most important macronutrient when trying to transform your body. Not only does it preserve lean muscle mass in a calorie deficit, it also boosts your metabolism by requiring more energy to digest. The thermic effect of food, TEF, for protein is around 20-30%, compared to 5-10% for carbs and only 2-4% for fats. That means when you eat 100 calories of protein, your body spends up to 30 calories just digesting it. A good goal is 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. For a 150-pound person, that's about 225 to 300 grams of protein. Divide that into meals, at least 30 of protein per meal, and choose sources like chicken, breast, eggs, tofu, Greek yogurt, lentils, and whey protein if needed. Part V. Fats, carbs, and macronutrient balance. While protein is king, healthy fats are crucial for hormone production, brain function, and satiety. Aim for 0.5 to 1 egg of fat per kg of body weight. Choose sources like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and fatty fish. Carbohydrates? They're not the enemy, but they should come mostly from complex carbs like sweet potatoes, quinoa, oats, fruits, and vegetables. Avoid refined carbs and sugar, which spike insulin and increase cravings. And remember, even fruit counts as carbs. Moderation matters, especially with high sugar fruits like mangoes or bananas. Part 7. Fiber, micronutrients, hydration. Fiber is your metabolism's unsung hero. It keeps digestion moving, stabilizes blood sugar, and feeds healthy gut bacteria which directly impact fat loss. Aim for 25-35 gob of fiber daily from veggies, legumes, seeds, and whole grains. Don't forget hydration. Dehydration slows metabolism, increases cravings, and can reduce exercise performance. Drink at least 2-3 liters of water daily. Part 8. Sample meal framework. Every meal should be structured simply: start with protein, at least 30. Add healthy fat, olive oil, nuts, seeds. Finish with carbs, ideally complex ones like lentils or sweet potatoes. A meal like grilled salmon, quinoa, and steamed broccoli is far more effective for fat loss than a smoothie loaded with fruit and honey. Part X. Exercise. Why resistance beats cardio. Cardio burns calories during the workout. Resistance training builds muscle that burns calories 24/7. You should aim for 3-5 resistance sessions per week, and 1-2 low-intensity cardio sessions if you enjoy it. But the real game changer? Increasing NEAT. Take the stairs, walk after meals, stand while talking on the phone. NEAT can account for 300+ daily calories without tiring your body. Part X. Sleep, stress, sustainability. Sleep deprivation reduces fat loss by over 50%, according to studies. Aim for 7-9 hours per night. Manage stress with breathing, walking, journaling, because cortisol makes your body cling to fat. Your nervous system matters as much as your nutrition. Chronic stress or poor sleep can cancel out all your hard work in the gym or kitchen. Final reflection: what this journey is really about. Fat loss is not a punishment. It's not about willpower or suffering. It's about honoring your biology, working with your body instead of against it. It's about building a lifestyle rooted in consistency, not extremes. Nourishing your body, moving with intention, sleeping deeply, thinking clearly. If there's one takeaway I want you to leave with, it's this. You are not broken. You simply need a smarter, more compassionate strategy. And if Jacob and Maria could do it, so can you. Your transformation doesn't begin with another diet. It begins with understanding. Let's start there.